declare, yeah, they move people, governor with 4 legislators before. But here we have a liberalist trying to do sanity of democracy being protected. So we must appreciate the fact. I as a senator, like I said, I'm very much intended because I don't joke with issues of security. This is very important.
Some people have accused the president of being biased because he instigated this crisis. But to him, I never cautioned him at some point in time.
The president
the big stick went to the government.
Yeah, the president is on the Supreme Court. I think if you said the president is biased, what about the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court went far than the president. The president, when the High Court says, keep the money of Rivers State in escrow account, Supreme Court said no, release the money to them. The High Court says, keep the money in escrow. President says, release the money to them. Technically, he has a tab and give them their money to be doing their thing. What the Supreme Court says? Supreme Court says, escrow the money, don't release one couple. So who is more biased? Is it the Supreme Court or the president? Supreme Court exercises wider power because they are looking at the law. But the president was talking about liberalism approach, cooperation and collaboration to make sure that we foster peace. But Supreme Court, look, it was Justice Holmes in 1644. He had this to say: the prophecy of what the court.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
Jimo Ibrahim. I don't know if it's just me. It looks, it kind of look like shrunk, or is it that it looks aged? It's like he just aged somehow. I don't know if it's just me. Anyway, he's the pro-Tifnumbu, and I never expected him to say anything different. All right. So at the National Assembly today, at the House of Representatives, it seems that it will be difficult for Tifnumbu to actually secure to third majority to approve this declaration of state of emergency. So it seems. Similarly at the Senate, and he has answered that to say only 63 or so of them came today. So that means it's not enough to form the quorum to vote. At the House of Representatives, some of the members were saying and could be heard shouting, in a shouting match, and where one of them was even shouting, "Who is Wike? Who is Wike?" This and that. And that seems like trouble that looms as well. The first obstacle that Tifnumbu is likely going to face, or maybe the second one. Remember, the first one was when Tifnumbu decided to declare war on Niger Republic. Yeah, with the public outcry and everybody's rejection to that idea, the Akwabiole Senate eventually rejected Tifnumbu's request to invade Niger Republic. So this may be another scenario that is tilting towards that at the House of Representatives earlier this morning. But it wasn't that rancorous or rowdy at their Senate when Okoye moved the motion that they should adjourn the sitting for the day to attend to other business of the National Assembly and reconvene again tomorrow to discuss this state of emergency declaration where Tifnubu removed and elected the governor and the deputy governor, the power that people believe he doesn't even have. But Nigeria is a lawless place. Is kind of like moved on, where Supreme Court said the allocation of river states should be put in escrow. In escrow, right? And it shouldn't be returned to them until Fubara submit the state budget to the State House of Assembly. And the State House of Assembly will let Fubara submit this budget. Therefore, meaning the allocation of the state cannot be released. But Tinubu has now ordered that this allocation should be released immediately to the administrator without the State House of Assembly or any assembly to appropriate on that yet. So at the Senate today, Okoye on the matter.
To move that what is listed as the first order of the day be stood down to enable us consider the second order of the day. And I make the motion, I move the motion pursuant to Order 1B of our rules. And if that is seconded and carried, that what is listed as the second order be now deemed to be the first order of the day. I so move, Mr. President.
Well, Order 1B says that the Senate can regulate itself. So I would like to fix time for it. The first order of the day, you have just moved a motion for us to step it down to 3 p.m. to enable us to consider other issues. Distinguished Minority Leader, you may wish to second the motion that we step the first order of the day down to 3 p.m. to enable us to consider other issues of the day.
Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do step down the first order of the day
to 3
to
p.m.
enable
To 3 p.m. To 3 p.m.
to 3 p.m. to enable the Senate to consider other matters on the other paper. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the first order of the day should be stepped down to 3 p.m. to enable us to consider other issues. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. One man's voice cannot constitute the Senate. Yes, the leader of the Senate. The next item.
Thank you, Mr. President. And for the record, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I didn't mention the order because to the extent that every distinguished
the next
senator
item,
has...
please. No, next item.
Yes, every distinguished senator has a copy of the order paper.
Next item.
The next order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Police. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that we do suspend other items on the order paper for today to enable our various committees to proceed with their committee meetings and attend to various stakeholders who have been invited to appear before their various committees, and that other items be stepped down for another legislative day. Mr. President, I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate suspends all other items on the order paper to the next legislative day. I so second.
We are getting to the interesting part little by little. Since yesterday, nobody has heard from Fubara. When Tifnubu made that announcement yesterday, declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State and sacking the governor and deputy governor, some first contingent of military raised down to the government house in Port Harcourt, where they took over the entire state, including Fubara and his family in the government house, where they were held down until the order from above directed them to move them to an undisclosed location, where it is not certain if Fubara is currently even being held under arrest or detained somewhere, because he hasn't been seen in public. His own, personal aid, they've released statements to, calm the people in the state down and tell them that they are on the matter and is being resolved. Nobody has physically seen Fubara in the last 24 hours and his family. Nobody knows what's going on with them as we speak. This is not because you need to feel sorry or pity them. It's just to kind of make you understand the coordinated impunity that is taking place in that contraption as we speak. There are those who are praising Tifnubu for majority, calling him out and calling out this action. The Nigerian Bar Association also released a statement which is in condemnation of this same action of Tifnubu. Here is a part of that.
On to a resolution passed by the Rivers State House of Assembly on Wednesday, the 12th day of March, 2025, directing the Department of State Security to investigate the Rivers State Chief Judge on allegations of falsification of age. It is quite unfortunate that despite the already heated polity in Rivers State, we are still experiencing escalations such as this. We recognize the constitutional powers and roles of the three arms of government in the state. We also recognize the need for these arms of government to work in synergy for the peace, progress, and development of the state. Thus, there is need for mutual respect amongst all the parties. We are not unaware of the existing political impasse between the legislature and the executive arms of government in Rivers State. However, we must caution that the judiciary should not be drawn into the ongoing imbroglio for no just cause. We reiterate that the independence of the judiciary is crucial to the sustenance of peace and stability in the state, as contending parties ultimately resort to the judiciary for the resolution of disputes, as has recently been witnessed at the Supreme Court. There is no need to escalate tensions, as the stability of Rivers State is crucial to the economy of the state and the country. We can easily recall the incidences in 2024 to 2025, which exposed the judiciary and judicial officers. 2014 to 2025, rather, which exposed 2014 to 2015, which exposed the judiciary and judicial officers that resulted in the closure of our courts. We cannot afford to experience a similar occurrence in the present times we find ourselves in the state, and especially for the interest of the good people of Rivers State to have their ongoing matters in court without interruptions. Every action in the public service has a prescribed procedure which all should respect and observe to forestall chaos and anarchy in the state. In the case of the judiciary, any complaint against one of its officers is dealt with by the National Judicial Council, which alone has the authority to carry out any disciplinary action or authorize any investigation against any judge. The role of security agencies is clearly defined, and they also must respect due process and work within the ambit of the law. It is therefore advised that the judiciary should not be intimidated into succumbing to blackmail, bullying, or political pressure in the discharge of their duties. The need for the protection of the judiciary cannot be overemphasized, as the
protection of judiciary, with what this judiciary has already caused in their contraption. In Rivers State, of course, people have started reacting, especially women who are distraught more about all of this based on their own expression. One of them, Fubara, was even crying. You know, remember that lady that was convicted of murder a while back or so? Yeah, then absolved of it at the end of the day. That actress. So that's Hilda Dokubo. I don't think she's Asari Dokubo's sister, but that name. They were all out to express their disappointments in the turn of events in the state. Watch this.
So why are you tagging the governor and the deputy? What has the deputy done wrong in all of this? So there's a plot, there's somebody's dream that must come true because perhaps he thinks he's bigger than the rest of the world. So what has the president been listening to? Who has he been talking to? Because it looks as if, you know, everything is wrong with Fubara, but nothing is wrong with his minister. Before that, the EK clerk died, he called him and he said, call your minister to order. He was governor when he was fighting Chibuike Rotimi. Rivers people stood by him because what Rivers people do not like is oppression of any kind. If you have finished and you have to go, let the next person serve. You don't stick yourself on top of the person's head, yelling down. What is the problem? Can Nyesom Wike come out and tell people what the problem is, other than saying, I made you a governor? Other than that, even by that statement alone, shouldn't he be in prison? How do you single-handedly make anybody? Isn't somebody supposed to become governor by the votes of the people? Is anybody supposed to be anything by just one man's singular act? You know, so it's just sad that the lawyers will give interpretations to this. It's just very sad. All morning, all I've been doing is trying to read the Constitution again as to whether the president has the right to suspend the governor. The two of them were voted in, with whatever other way they want to put it. That's what they want all of us to believe, that they were voted. So let's take that their sentence and run with it. Does he have the right? He perhaps has rights to declare state of emergency if there are emergencies, right, for which this needs to be declared. But up to Tuesday, there was none. There was absolutely none. I reside in Port Harcourt. I go out every single day to do my work, and all of you know how my work can be. It's inside every bush and every street and everything. So no, there was no emergency. And we haven't heard any news of any blown up pipe until they came in on Saturday and left. So they should tell us what happened. Who blew up the pipe? They need to tell us. Asari Dokubo had made a statement. He said he called his boys back because he knew they wanted to set him up, and he will not allow them do that. He's now an amenable of the source, so he will not. So they should tell us, not put the blame on Sinala Fubara. And the team didn't come out to say anything. What is he supposed to say? Everything he has ever said has been used against him. So what?
Now you have crippled people, and all we see is wah. What for? Because of one man? I will say it over and over and over. What's going on in Rivers State is not similar in Fubara. What's going on in Rivers State is a combat for the economic soul of Rivers State. Somebody wants to grab the economic soul of Rivers State. The soul of Rivers State, for 24 years, they kept milking us. That was how our money was flying all over our heads. It is here today, it is there tomorrow. It is funding all kinds of foolishness. This is the first time that civil servants have been paid the 13 months. Every Christmas for 2 years, civil servants get paid. Civil servants have been paid all their salaries. For the first time, there are roads connecting the riverine communities. It has never happened. They told us, they lied to us, they told us our terrain was too bad. Now we know our terrain is not bad. Now we know. He told us that we can have election here, and it can be any way but no war. No